5th, and I'm headed out for my first time looking for sheds in Colorado here. Just moved in on Saturday, a couple days ago. Got settled in, and now I have a few days off before I start work and training, so trying to make the most of it and head out to the Gunnison State Forest here. It's a little bit far of a drive from Colorado Springs. It's about 2 hours of a drive to where I'm headed today, so probably won't make it out here many more times this summer, but I figure since I don't have much going on right now, I should take a little longer adventure. So we took off around 11 and expect to get there about 1. There's storms in the area, which is probably going to be our biggest obstacle to overcome in this trip. It's just the rain and trying to stay dry. Planning on spending one night out here, spend tonight, and then spend all day tomorrow looking for sheds. I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest, so it's going to be an adventure trying to figure this out, but I'm excited for it. Plan is to follow the trail back a little ways, and then once I find some elk sign, go dive in after it and see what I can find for sheds. So I'm excited for it, a little bit nervous. Hopefully we can stay dry. We're getting pretty close now. Got about 15 minutes of driving left. We're on the slow gravel roads heading up into the mountains. Last check on the weather says about 30% chance of thunderstorms throughout this afternoon, and up until about 9 tonight. So it ain't gonna be great. We're probably gonna get a little bit wet, but that's down from what I initially saw was like 70% chance of storm. So hopefully there's a little less rain. We can go up here, find some elk. This country just looks awesome. I'm glad I drove over here. So far, the traffic over, once I got past like Pikes Peak area, has been a lot less. So hopefully it stays that way up to this trailhead. I'm excited, I'm stoked. On the way up here, I'm seeing a lot of no hunting signs, which I like to see. We'll get back to this public. Yeah, there's even more here. And it just tells me that, hey, people are trying to hunt back here. There must be something to hunt. So I'm excited about that. That gets me fired up to see. There's a decent amount of tracks on this gravel here, but I haven't ran into another car yet, so that's good. I'm getting stoked. I'm pumped up. Yes, sir. Here we are. We made it to the trailhead. We're the only car up here. Old trusty Fusion made it. It's a beautiful drive up here. We're at about 9,800 feet. Definitely a sign of people being up here. We're gonna go up here and try to get caught up with the regulations and go from there. A little bit of rain coming down. We had some sleet coming down really good when we were on our way. Now it's settled down. It feels pretty nice. And we are off. We got everything on my back. And it's just past 2. Plan on being back here about 5 tomorrow. So we got about 24 hours. A lot of stuff to learn on this trip. This is my first trip hiking back in here. So far, I'm pumped. There's a trail here that leads back quite a ways. There's a couple lakes back here that people like to hike to. But the creek right down here makes a Y with another that looks like that. And we're gonna try getting up to that Y and then hunting for sheds in the area that are surrounding that, basically, wherever looks good in that area. I think from my experience hunting deer, that where those creeks join up at that elevation, from what I've heard, about 8,000 to 10,000, good forest on the north side is where the elk are going to be at. To be honest, this looks like good country for elk right here. It's just there's too many people in here, so trying to get away from traffic a little bit. Gonna hike steady here for a while. Oh man, this is just beautiful. Yeah, the plan is to hike steady for a while. I won't be taking as much video as I normally would, just because I'm also using this phone for navigation. And if it goes dead, I do have a battery pack and another phone, but I'm just trying to use this one and use those other ones as emergency backup. So save battery, I'll be not taking very much video. Just try to get important stuff. Let's get her done. This has been an awesome hike so far. We haven't seen anybody else. It's been a nice, smooth hike. A lot of elk sign, honestly. There's deer, elk poop all over the trails. And there's this aspen stand here, which, one thing I learned about them is they're all connected by the same root mass. So that's kind of cool. It's like one organism that's popping up all these trees, so pretty big plant. But what I was looking for on these aspen trees is elk chewing on them, and that is what we have right here. As you can see, elk chew on these. I once heard that the bark on the aspen tree serves as like kind of an ibuprofen for the elk. But I don't know too much about that. So it's really good to see all this elk sign. We're about 3/4 of the way to where we want to get to. So the hike's been going by really fast. Just a lot to take in. I'm really excited by the amount of elk sign. Let's keep moving up to where we want to get to and settle in. Start picking away at the land and trying to find a shed. I was just coming up the trail and looking back, looks like we got a nasty storm coming in. But on the bright side, we got our eyes on the first elk of the trip, way up on top of this ridge. A couple of cows hanging out up there, it looks like. Just silhouetted against the sky there. Pretty cool. I'm getting my butt kicked by the mountains. We've got up to where the snow is, and it just keeps accumulating the farther we get up, which makes sense. You can see where those elk were before was above the tree line where the snow has melted more. I'm just not running into like any elk sign once I've got into this snow, and it makes sense, man. This is hard to get around in. Doesn't make sense why the elk would be hanging around in here. So I was hoping to get a little further up and check out a lake called Anglemeyer Lake. And that's actually just off the trail over there. We got across a creek down there that's ripping right now. And that looked a little sketchy, to say the least, to try to cross. And so I'm gonna head back here to where we last saw the elk sign. Just past my first fellow hiker out here. And dude is hiking up here, backpack on, drinking a beer, just enjoying it. God dang, you live out here? He sure does. They're just built different. I'd pretty much turn around if I want to make it out of here alive. That dude's just smoking right up this hill, easy money. God, man, that'll humble you. I'll blame it on the altitude. A little easier going down here, but it still is pretty slick on the snow, so trying to be careful not to break a leg. That'd put a little damper on the trip. Made it to a big rock. Ran into the first elk droppings since being in all that snow. And just decided to cut off the trail a little bit. We're not too far from where we saw most of the elk sign. It's down below us a little ways. And so my plan is to kind of start up high and then work down. But with this much snow here, I think we'll be able to find a shed. If there is one around here. So we're going to put down some dinner. My mountain house is spinach, chicken, and rice. Some white rice. I cooked it up last night. Pretty slick deal. So we'll wolf that down quick and keep marching along this ridge. Night is quickly coming upon us. Found a nice lookout place here. Hang up the hammock. Put my sleeping bag in there. Look, I've got my sleeping bag in there. My shoes out there drying. Got all my rain gear and stuff drying out here too. Put a hat on because it's starting to get a little cool. But overall, we're just trying to get dried out here. Luckily, the rain has held off, so I'm very thankful for that. Looked like the weather forecast called the last chance for it was at 9, and it is. Let's see, 7:57. So we're getting to the end of the rain threats, which I'm excited about. The weather tomorrow is supposed to just be gorgeous. But up there is where we saw the cows earlier. We found a decent amount of tracks on this side hill that we're on. And right down here is a bunch of budding aspens. Looks awesome for elk. But we haven't seen anything besides those few cows way up on the top of the mountain over there a while ago. So in the morning I'm planning to just keep chipping my way back along this same ridge towards the car. I like the sign I'm finding. It seems like good territory for an elk to hang out, and we saw those not too far from here, so they've got to be hanging out right around here. I've been seeing enough sign to keep me convinced that it's worth looking around here. So, what the heck, man, we'll keep chipping away. Hopefully get a good night's sleep here. I hung up my food in that tree right over here. Yeah, right there. It's probably 12 feet off the ground. Bear could probably get it if it was motivated enough, but I'm really praying that we don't get a bear that motivated here. Any bear, for a matter of fact. It is part of the game out here. There's plenty of them to go around. So we're gonna watch the sunset from the hammock and take in this gorgeous creation. Man, God is good. This is beautiful. Good morning. Last night was an adventureful night, to say the least. At about, I'd say, from when I took the last video to about midnight, I slept quite a bit actually. And then, what I thought was a sun rising was a full moon. came right up over this hill here, and it's just awesome to watch. But it lit everything up, and I could not sleep after that. So that made for quite a long night after. I ended up setting up the tent, trying to sleep in that, but we're on this steep incline. I mean, I can barely stand. So I was sleeping kind of all wrapped up in these roots and rocks, trying to not slip down the mountain too much, but after a few hours, I had to get out, pull a tent up to where I started again, and then go back to sleep for a few more hours. We'll try to sleep, so it was fun. I mean, I'm thankful, safe, and all the food is still here. We're gonna take this mountain house I made. So these are frozen berries. They're kind of mashed up now, and some oatmeal. Put some honey in there and cinnamon. That'll be good. And then I got my protein shake. So I got all my bases covered this morning. Get fueled up to hike these woods. Right out here actually is where I'm planning on going. Kind of hit those woods towards the car and see if we can't find some elk or a shed. Either one I'd be pretty stoked about. I can see quite a bit right now from where I'm at, and I haven't seen any elk, so that's a little bit discouraging, but I'm sure they're just like deer. They know how to use the terrain to stay hidden. It's tough to find them. So we'll keep our eyes peeled and get fueled up here. Just sneaking down this ridge. Came within about 60 yards of a mule deer. Pretty cool. First one I've seen out here. Just got eyes on another mule deer right down here. Let's just pound it away because you see its butt. Around him. Ran into our third mule deer of the morning. There are a lot of them things around here. That's right. Behind the trees here. Not too far away. This area looks awesome. Lots of food for the animals. There's a fire ring down here. Ran into a couple. Fire rings looks like people like may camp around this area, and don't love to see that, but at the same time, people are back here camping out. Chances are it is good hunting, Made it about halfway back. We're still in the same kind of territory. We're still finding good sign, fresh poop, tracks. We're gonna keep working it. Maybe start zigzagging, since we're getting close to being back, and it is only, let's see here, 8:22. So I was planning on being out here until about dinner time if we had background, dude. That's alright with me too. It's a beautiful day today, barely any wind. In this woods here, it's awesome. A lot of elk sign. And I think it's just a matter of covering ground before we find a shed or run into an elk. Keep up in our odds, more ground we cover. This is the freshest aspen chewing I've found so far. Till they've done it in years past, but this year is really fresh. Just went to town on that thing. Found some fresh poop right back there. You're right in. Taking a little breather here. Almost back to the vehicle. I think this is gonna do her. For shed hunting on this trip, it's a really nice area. Fun to check out. Saw a lot of mule deer. Decent elk sign. Couple elk far off. The elk sign definitely has dwindled as I've got closer to the parking area here, so I'm kind of losing hope that we'll run into a shed. But that shed hunting, man, shed hunting is tough. It requires hours and hours of walking, just lining up just right with one of those things. So fun trip here. Hopefully we can get out of here safe. And I don't think we'll come back here. There's so many mountains around here. It'd be fun to check out a new area. But I learned a lot about reading elk sign, what they like to use this time of year. So it's a great trip. Can't wait for the next one.